And we are now live for the most important podcast in magnetic reversal news history. And so if you're out there and you're watching, please let me know that you can hear me and you can see me loud and clear. Before we get started, I need to know that the audio is not tinny and the real mic is on. You can see here it's lit up. So let me all know if the audio is good and all clear. Enoch says it's clear and he can hear. I believe you, Enoch, above all else. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to tonight's show, one of the most important scientific reveals in all of modern history, maybe since the dawn of time, which would be since the reworking of our humanity in the last 12,000 years. Now, we've been asking questions. Why has sacred geometry been poo-pooed, the tarot, and other things like that? Why has Tesla's information been stolen? And I have posited on the show in the last several years how there has been technologies that have been suppressed that could literally eliminate emissions, and everything could be frictionless using electromagnetics and other technologies, but they've all been suppressed by the powers that be. Well, tonight we're going to reveal to you some of the most esoteric science ever considered. And this is not a simulation. This is not a drill. This is a hidden group of individuals that have been working on technology for almost a decade. And in 2017, they published the first paper because what they had been working on was finally realized. And it took 5 years for them to patent all the parts and all the working mechanisms of some of the most mind-blowing information that you will ever hear in your entire fucking life. And so let's get on with the show. Now, many of you have seen me post this particular graphic. And I hope you can see it now. Yes. Holy macaroni. Now, this is the great year. This is the cycle of cosmic catastrophe. And what Randall Carlson revealed to me and other geologists that have been listening was that there is some type of encoded message in our universal psyche that affects our solar system that has some type of clockwork. And many people know about it. And when you look at the geology overlain by the astrology, you start to see a pattern, and the great year emerges, 25,920. But what does this mean? And what is this significance? Well, Alpha Prospects and Derlite had been studying these esoteric sciences for years. And in fact, they even contacted Randall, and they said that he laid the foundation for what we are about to reveal to you tonight. And it's, in fact, atomic energy from water. And it's the plasmoid protium power that can create clean energy for every single human being on Earth. Now, what this group did was they kept their discovery in secret, and then they redesigned it for internal combustion engines that currently have been used on the planet since the turn of the century, 2 centuries ago. Since 1900, we've been using the same inefficient fossil fuel, quote unquote, burning engines. And so what this group did after their discovery, which we're about to reveal, is they retrofitted it to all internal combustion engines, including gas and diesel. And so when they reveal this energy, the entire world will no longer need billions of gallons of fuel. They'll just need millions, because all you need to do is heat up the element inside of this engine, and you have perpetual atomic fuel running on a plasmoid that is fueled by simply water. Now, I know it might seem completely ludicrous, and I agree, but we're going to walk you through the science, and in the next 3 minutes, your mind is going to be titillated, and you will have hope for the future. Now, we're talking about plasmoids, and I'll show you a few. Here's a plasmoid in an experiment. There's another plasmoid. And even the black hole that was imaged earlier last year that was claimed to be a black hole is just a plasmoid. Now, plasmoids are donut or toroidal-shaped clusters of net protons or net electrons that once captured and placed into the toroidal orbit are capable of absorbing, storing, and releasing enormous amounts of energy present within their self-generated and highly organized, structured electromagnetic containment field. And you've heard me say this before. In effect, they function as an atomic battery that can be self-charging due to the ability that they have to convert matter to available clean energy. And when I mean matter, it's any available matter that is in the atmosphere that they exist. Now, plasmoids, by their unique geometry, cause a consequential electromagnetic containment field to generate a 0 point naturally and casually, without much effort, Z-pinch, and have the ability to convert the nuclear mass of protium, which is the most abundant material on Earth, into energy. Did you catch that? Now, the isotopes of hydrogen include protium, P+, deuterium, P++ a neutron, and tritium, P+ and 2 neutrons. And so tritium and deuterium, well, deuterium is heavy water, and tritium is hard to come by, but protium is everywhere as far as isotopes of hydrogen. So it's readily available. And if you can produce it using water, well, then you're golden. Now, the plasmoid unification model is the key. And this has been working. They've been working this out over the last decade. The plasmoid unification model posits that plasmoids are epoch-making, and the knowledge of them has been hidden in plain sight for centuries. In fact, mainstream media has claimed that they've pictured a black hole and even showed the inner areas of our universe, of our galaxy recently, and claimed that there were black holes there as well, which are all plasmoids. This plasmoid, as well as other plasmoids, are not black holes. These are donut-shaped toroidal fields of massive energy sources, which we can create if you look at plasma scaling on the atomic scale. So here is a donut similar to this black hole, which is light years across. This one is micrometers across. 50 micrometers. See that? Maybe 70 micrometers across. So from black hole, light years across, to plasmoid, micrometers across. Let's stuff this in an engine, shall we? Now, the plasmoid unification model posits that plasmoids are epoch-making, and the knowledge of them has been hidden in plain sight for centuries. And thank God it's being unraveled now. Well, it actually was unraveled a decade ago, but people in the right places have kept this information tight, and now we're going to spill it out all over the world. And many of us might die, but this information has been secured all over the world in dozens of countries in hard copy. So no matter what they do to the inventors and people like me presenting this, this information will never go away. So God bless us all. Now, the plasmoid unification model's slide rule reveals the algorithmic relationship of life's elements critical to mankind's existence and development. and its parts with protium, which has a melting point of negative 259.2 C and is the most abundant element in our solar system. So these engines can run forever because what we're going to be using to power them is the most abundant element in the universe. Now, here's where it gets even more insane. Are you ready for it? Protium determines the 25,920 great year frequency of our solar system. Everyone has been looking at what determines the frequency of the cosmic catastrophe on Earth. It's protium, which is in all water. And protium determines the 25,920 great year frequency of our solar system, which is creating this cosmic clock. Now, the resonant frequencies of all other elements can then be calculated when the 25,920 years is reduced from years to days, hours, and other seconds, and then translated to the periodic table of the elements. And the plasmoid unification model is evidence that the universe is intelligent design. I was able to grab this from Randall Carlson's screen share when he revealed what is coming. So let's watch that real quickly before we dive deeper into what's coming.
From this, but there are people who've been working on these things for decades now, basically in secret. And I've had the privilege of talking to some of these people over the last 6 or 7 years. And right now, as we're speaking, there's a group of people who are basically going to open source a whole lot of stuff in the next 3 months, so it can never get suppressed again. And that's why I'd like to come back and talk in more detail.
Well, I'd love to have you come back and talk about it, but we got to talk about it a little bit now.
Okay. Well, there's a laboratory right now in the Maldives that's been building prototypes using these technological principles, which are based on implosion rather than explosion. And the inspiration for this,
Tesla's ideas are part of it. I think you mentioned
Tesla's ideas are very much a part of it. Yes, Tesla's ideas are very much a part of it. So is, I don't know if you ever, Victor Schauberger, who did the work with water and discovered, look at, Jamie, could you look up Victor? Oh, I have the cable now, don't I?
You can take it back. Let me find it.
Well, no. Let me pull something up here, and
I think the key thing is we're looking at technologies that are not the same as ours.
Yes.
And that's partly why archaeologists can't see them, because they're looking for us in the past and they're not open to the possibility that there are whole other kinds of technology that could be used.
Right.
I always go back to the ancient Egyptian traditions that speak of priests chanting as these huge blocks would.
So you can see here, what he's referring to is that priests are chanting and they could potentially have the ability to move blocks. Well, this has been proven. And a lot of you know about cymatics. So if you just change the frequency and you're emanating it above, like, let's say a substrate, and you put sand on it, you can create sacred geometric forms. And so this group proved this and went well beyond that, and they created the Cymatics for all of the periodic table. And so what this group is able to do is move matter using sound. If this doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what would. But this is just the tippy touch, the beginning steps of what they uncovered. Not only were they able to create a resonant frequency for every single atomic structure on the periodic table, they were able to use that information from the great year and sacred geometry to create this chart, but they were able to create a machine that creates practically, well, let's listen to the rest of the video.
Were lifted into the air. Were they using some kind of sound effect, some kind of use of sound that was able to manipulate matter? We know that sound can manipulate matter, as a matter of fact, but they're lifting these blocks. Again and again, it appears in ancient Egyptian traditions. The notion that we could lift huge blocks with sound seems absurd to archaeologists, and yet it's there in the traditions of the Egyptologists. And what Randall's talking about now is people
that we've achieved as modern humans just in the last few hundred years.
Yeah.
If you go back 400 years to now, it's a stunning amount of achievement.
absolutely stunning.
And if you have a completely different path.
Wait. So you guys can't hear the sound from this video? You cannot hear the sound from this video. Huh, that's bizarre.
There's a laboratory right now in the Maldives that's been building prototypes using these technological principles, which are based on implosion rather than explosion. And the inspiration for this.
Tesla's ideas are part of it, I think you mentioned.
Tesla's ideas are very much a part of it. Yes, Tesla's ideas are very much a part of it. So is, I don't know if you ever, Victor Schauberger, who did the work with water and discovered, look at, Jamie, could you look up Victor? Oh, I have the cable now, don't I?
Take it back. For us in the past, and they're not open to that sound can manipulate matter, as a matter of fact, but they're lifting these blocks. Again and again, it appears in ancient Egyptian traditions. The notion that we could lift huge blocks with sound seems absurd to archaeologists, and yet it's there in the traditions of the Egyptologists. And what Randall's talking about now is people who are working on a whole alternative path of technology, and maybe that's a rediscovery of the kind of technologies that were used by a lost civilization.
I think that's what's important about what you're saying, is that we have this very limited idea of technology based on what we've experienced.
Yeah.
But if you had anatomically similar human beings that lived for thousands and thousands of years.
Stuff just keeps on getting older.
If you think about the amount of progress that we've achieved as modern humans just in the last few hundred years, you go back 400 years to now, it's a stunning amount of achievement.
Absolutely stunning.
And if you have a completely different path of technology, one that's not utilizing internal combustion engines and cranes and the like that we experience
leverage,
today.
Mechanical advantage, everything that our tech is based around.
Something that's insanely advanced.
Now we're about to reveal what this technology is, and I think you guys, well, it's gonna blow your minds.
Tens of thousands of years of a different path.
Yeah.
And that may be what we're looking at.
And that may begin to explain these otherwise inexplicable monuments that have survived.
Jamie, do I need, there we go. This is the work of Nikola Tesla. And he was, again, this is way too much for us to get in today. That's why we need to devote a whole session to talking about this.
Okay.
But this was the inspiration. You know, his work was suppressed. A lot of his patents were taken, sealed up by the U.S. government for whatever reason. I don't know. But this is some of the stuff that's now being developed using his ideas, plus some of the others. This is the man I've been talking to for the last 7 years.
Malcolm Bendall?
Yes. And again, I don't want to get into it today, but like here's an example of what they're
But
doing.
we're
This is
gonna
a
get
generator
into
that has
it.
No moving parts. It's all based on geometry, pure geometry. And here's the basic idea, as I think I understand it at this point. Resonance frequencies, everything vibrates. Have you ever, like if we had an electric razor, we plugged it in, turned it on, set it on this table, it's going to move around, isn't it? Ever seen that?
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the concept because it's vibrating. Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. And I think that's the basic idea of what we're looking at here. And it's all based upon the ancient numbers. And they're developing technologies right now, and they have been. I was recently contacted and given the go-ahead that I could talk. I've been sitting on this for 7 years without talking about it because they asked me not to talk about it until they had their patents in place and their licensing. That's all happened since last summer. So we're now free to talk about it. So that's what I'm saying. I think it'd be a good idea to get me back on here. We can look at it. I'm going to lay this on Graham so he can look at it. I think it would be
Cut stones or all the above,
all the above.
and even transport them.
Yeah.
What is all this?
Well, this is the model, and this is diagramming all the frequencies of the elements and what their vibrational frequencies are and the numbers that measure those.
You got to be fucking kidding
They're
me.
all the numbers we get from looking at.
Oops.